first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The World Series resumes tonight in Los Angeles, where the Dodgers will host the Blue Jays, tied up at a game apiece. 7 Eastern ESPN Radio. Max Scherzer, coming off a strong performance in Game 4 of the ALCS, starts for Toronto. Tyler Glasnow counters for Los Angeles. ESPN MLB analyst Doug Glanville.
A guy like Glasnow for the Dodgers, great arm, a little different style than, say, Snell and Yamamoto. Sort of works the big fastball up and the breaking ball. He's not known to just go deep in the game. He can get a little bit wild. So you're going to see the bullpen have to make the difference between these two. But the Dodgers being home, that's going to be a big plus for them for sure.
Doug Glanville on Clinton and Friends. LA 5-1 at home this postseason. NFL, the Jaguars will not trade receiver Brian Thomas Jr. despite his struggles to start this season, according to coach Liam Cohen. Former NFL running back Adrian Peterson remained jailed today after yesterday's arrest in a Houston suburb on charges of driving while intoxicated and unlawfully carrying a weapon. NBA Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards out 2 weeks with a right hamstring strain.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, the Packers sit at 5-1-1 and at the top of the NFC. But are they number one in my power rank? Find out at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. It's on Sportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. I caught my headphone wire there. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU lost. The Saints. Oh, what are we talking? Give me a break. Brian Kelly got fired. Let's begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
For 4 years, you have heard me repeat a phrase. So many times you could probably finish it for me. For better or worse, Brian Kelly and LSU are bound together for a decade. I have said that over and over and over and over again. So many times. That's what happens when you give a coach a 10-year, $95 million contract with 90% of it guaranteed. You are financially bound together, so you have to make it work, for better or worse. Until you decide there's no making it work. And apparently, that's where LSU arrived on Sunday morning. I have said so many times that LSU not firing Brian Kelly on this show, other people's shows, every platform. And it's not some deeply rooted opinion that I held. It's what was told to me over and over and over and over again by the people who write checks and who hire and fire at LSU. The fact that this happened so quickly is stunning. And I'm going to go through how it happened, why it happened, and where they go from here and all that stuff. But to illustrate how surprising this is, I had a conversation this morning, Monday morning, with a very, very prominent LSU booster. Trust me when I tell you, you won't guess who it is, by the way. You would not guess who this is. And this person told me, this isn't me saying it, this is someone who writes checks, who said, if you would have told me at kickoff of the Texas A&M game that Brian Kelly was going to be fired the next day, I would have said, no way, would have never believed it. We don't have that kind of money. This is someone who writes checks, told me that today. This feels so reactionary, and the ripple effects are going to be massive, but it's done, and we'll talk about how it happened and why it happened and all that sort of stuff and how they move on. So let me kind of fill you in a little bit on how this all transpired, okay? And we broke the story at LouisianaSports.net. I got a call on Sunday, little before noon, that Brian Kelly was being fired. Obviously, you got to get that right, and you have to make sure that it's really happening and done. But the events that set forth on Sunday were very dramatic and evolving throughout the day because of the many different people that got involved. But ultimately, as I understand it, what happened is as the Texas A&M game was unfolding, and it went as badly as it did, where you had a team that in the second half, with your season, for all intents and purposes, your championship hopes on the line, laid down and got whipped. The crowd emptied out. Those who stayed booed. You had players leave the field. Only a few stayed for the alma mater. Kelly, who had left, had to come back out for the alma mater, then went back in, got booed again. It was bad. Ugly all the way around. And during that scene, conversations started to be had to take temperature among boosters who might be willing to contribute to a buyout. And while that started on Saturday night into Sunday morning, what became clear is that more and more people who were asked, Brian Kelly didn't have any allies. And that maybe would end up being his undoing at LSU, is that he didn't work hard enough to gain the favor of the people who were making these types of, who had influence in these types of decisions. And so when you get to a very ugly situation, like what happened on Saturday night, the conversation wasn't, should we make staff changes and see if that might help for the remainder of the season? It was, no, it's you. And he had no allies. So a couple of things that you've heard, read, that I'll clarify. There was a report that there was a contentious conversation with Brian Kelly and Scott Woodward where he was told he needed to fire assistants, and then he said he wasn't going to do that. It became contentious. I can tell you that did not happen from people in the room. What I was told from people in the room was it was a very cordial conversation. It lasted probably about 5 minutes. Basically, it was expressed that Brian Kelly had lost support and they were going in a different direction. He accepted that decision, left, and then at a later time in the afternoon, early afternoon, Brian Kelly's agent, Trace Armstrong, engaged in the conversations about the buyout. There's been other reports on Monday that they have agreed to a lessened buyout. I can tell you that is not true, that Brian Kelly and LSU, their representations, have not yet agreed to a lessened buyout. On Sunday night at 5 o'clock, the governor, members of the Board of Supervisors, and key boosters had a meeting at the governor's mansion to discuss the buyout possibilities and who would be the interim head coach. You may ask, why is the governor involved? I'll get to that later. Just accept that that's a thing that happened. You don't have a university president at this time. You have an interim president. So there's some power struggle here. But as of now, there is no resolution on a buyout. So Brian Kelly will continue being paid what he's paid presently, which is approximately $800,000 a month. They're just going to continue paying him until and unless they come to some agreement on a buyout. At 8 o'clock on Sunday night, there was a meeting to inform the team. Scott Woodward spoke, introduced Brian Kelly, who was allowed to speak to the team, and then Frank Wilson spoke. I'm told from people inside that room that it was somber, but that all three men did a great job conveying their message to the team. So if this was so dramatic, then why did it happen? And if I could boil down, y'all have spent more time on the phone, like talking on the phone in the last 30 hours than I have probably in the last year collectively. And if I could boil all of these conversations down, the feeling simply was that Brian Kelly lost the team. And when you lose the team, you can't get it back. So I would look and say, is this an overreaction to one game? And my feeling is yes. If you were that adamantly opposed to spending $54 million to buy out a coach, and one game goes so terribly wrong, and you make the decision you're going to turn on a dime, that feels like an overreaction. But part of me looks at it and says, this was an all-in season. This was all in. I've said that a million times here. You're all in. Nussmeier returned. Garrett Nussmeier's making close to $3 million this year. You're all in with your fifth-year senior quarterback. You went all in the portal. You went to your boosters, to your fans, and begged them to fund your collective. Brian Kelly himself put up $1 million of his own money, to his credit. No one's going to mention that. But you went to your benefactors and said, we need buy-in in the collective to go buy this roster. And they delivered. And your roster costs $18 million. Brian Kelly's words on the record, not mine, not my guess, not my reporting information. Brian Kelly said it on the record, $18 million. Okay. You went all in, and with 2 losses already on the docket, and your championship season hopes, fleeting as they might have been, on the line, that's the performance you give? The feeling was you lost the team. So could you have fired assistant coaches? Could you have fired Joe Sloan, fired Brad Davis, shuffled the staff for the final month? Maybe. But is that going to make you better? Are you going to be better in the final month? Or are you just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic? And these are the conversations they had. And then you start to look and say, okay, well, let's say you rearrange the staff, but you go into an off season after a very disappointing season. Can you go back to the same people that helped you fund this roster and ask them to do it again for this coach? And there was far less confidence in that. So would you be better a year from now? And the answer is probably no. So the decision was made. And Frank Wilson's promoted to the interim head coach. And there's a lot of reasons why that's the obvious choice. First, Frank has head coaching experience. He was the head coach at UTSA and at McNeese, so he's been a head coach before. And Frank is beloved. When you have a locker room that is fractured, where if they had lost confidence in the coach, the staff, whatever the case may be, and remember, in the NIL era, coach is fired, players can enter the transfer portal. There's a very real question of, can you keep this roster together for the final month of the season, or do they start leaving? opting out. Like, that's a possibility. Well, how do you prevent that from happening? This is a good way. A coach that they all love saying, come on, follow me. Let's play hard for the final month of the season. And then on top of that, Frank is your recruiting coordinator, so you're trying to keep together the 2026 recruiting class as well. And your recruiting coordinator is now the head coach who can say, sit tight, let's get through this. Makes a lot of sense. Glad Frank's on staff for something just like this. And then the question becomes about who's next. And this is maybe the most fascinating part of this whole thing, because as one high-level person told me yesterday, when you add together Brian Kelly's buyout, what it will cost to buy out his staff, what it will likely cost to hire a new head coach and the new head coach's staff, all in, this is going to be about $100 to $115 million exercise to transition staff to staff. $115 million. Are you really going to go hire another $100 million coach? Because let me tell you straight up, you want to go get Lane Kiffin? You want to go get Dan Lanning? Guess what it's going to cost? Another $100 million guaranteed contract. You ready for that? So that's the question you have to answer now. Can you afford, after this, to go do it again? But the other side of the coin is, can you afford not to? Because at LSU, everyone demands excellence and championships. Can you take a risk going bargain shopping because of this financial albatross that's now going to be around your neck through 2031? I don't have to answer that question. The powers that be will. I have some thoughts, and we'll talk plenty about it. But maybe the question isn't, can you afford another $100 million coach? It's, can you afford not to pay another $100 million coach? What a time. Brian Kelly fired. LSU goes into their open date. Team does. They're off today. Frank Wilson having staff meetings today. The team is back together on Tuesday for the first time. They'll make it through their open date. Staff changes as well. By now, I'm sure you've heard Joe Sloan's been fired. Alex Atkins will call the plays. So we've got a ton to get to throughout the entire course of the show today. We'll hear plenty of reaction nationally. We'll get yours as well. Email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Show Up and Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Might have had me actually, you know what? I think I've earned an ice cold Bud Light tonight. Probably have a few of those. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. All right, let me knock out a quick break, y'all. We come back. This is a one-topic day. We're only talking about Kelly today and everything there in all angles. When we come back, I'll go into more detail about the buyout and the money and all the finances. Stay here at AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Duplessis Builders. DuplessisBuilders.net is the website. Hey, look, if you're thinking of building a pool, maybe it's always been a dream of yours to walk into your backyard and have that outdoor oasis. Duplessis Builders can make it happen. Moscona can't afford a pool. Yeah, you can. Hey, look, Duplessis will build you the big, beautiful, custom resort-style swimming pool. And you can see pictures of their beautiful work. You want that beautiful custom pool, they do that. And they offer you a 10-year workmanship warranty, by the way. But they also have options. If you go to the website, there's a Pick Your Pool tab on the homepage. They have pre-designed options for you as low as $49K. And financing is available as well. You can have that beautiful pool in your backyard, and Duplessis Builders can make it happen. DuplessisBuilders.net.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. our clients come first.
At Luva, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
That's out of my hands. It's impossible for the head coach that's been here, for 4 years and 35 years of doing this to think anything else but this is my responsibility and we've got to get it turned around. And that's not my decision in terms of whether I'm here or not, but that's what I will do as a head coach that's been doing it for over 3 decades. When things are not going well from a football standpoint, the head football coach has to be agile enough and able to make those changes.
This is Brian Kelly after LSU's loss to Texas A&M on Saturday. I've been asked a bunch, hey, if there was no buyout, would you want to fire Brian Kelly? And it's a very fair question. And I don't know that I have a great answer to that because part of me looks at programs like let me give you Florida for instance. Florida is a program. The two in the SEC that are probably the most glaring examples of this are Florida and Auburn. Programs that just churn through coaches. And as a result, they struggle to find stability. So I'm not saying there's a good, bad, right, wrong. I think there are different ways to go about this process. And I look at Florida and I say, okay, well, you had Dan Mullen, who won for you, but maybe just didn't win enough, and so you fire him. Or go back to Jim McElwain. Jim McElwain won the East his first 2 years at Florida. Midway through year 3, they fired him because people just didn't like it. He was winning, but they didn't like it. You bring in Dan Mullen, and it was similar. Mullen won, he just didn't win enough. And then you make another change, and you bring in Billy Napier. And now in year 4, you fired Billy Napier. Like, you just keep churning through coaches. It's hard to ever establish stability or culture, any of those types of things. So that's why I tend to believe, like, give people the resources they need to have success, build a foundation, and build upon it. Expecting a run like Nick Saban had at Alabama is unrealistic. What LSU has done over the last 25 years, however, is be, by and large, an 8-9 win football team that occasionally will pop a big one. You win a title in 2003. You win a title in 2007 despite losing 2 games. You were back in the title game in 2011. You had a really good roster in 2016, but it fell apart on Les. He got fired. You win a title in 2019. You had the great offense in 2023, but we know what happened defensively. You see my point? Like, LSU, by and large, is a team that wins 8 or 9 games a year, and about every half decade pops a big one. And that's okay, because being a team that goes 10-2, 11-1 every year, unless you're Nick Saban in Alabama, is not realistic. So I'm more inclined to say, give me stability. So, am I okay with firing Brian Kelly? Not really. $54 million to buy out a coach in year 4. And again, it may be proven that this is the best decision. Maybe they nail the next hire and the next guy's awesome and all that. But this reeks of a very impulsive decision that is going to be so consequential. And I want to be very clear as we start talking about the buyout, which is reportedly in the $53-54 million range. And I'm going to go through this and why it's important. But the first thing I think that is so important for people to know, the state of Louisiana is not paying Brian Kelly's buyout. So a lot of people want to talk. I know this happens all the time. People talk about optics and with the government shut down. None of that has anything to do with Brian Kelly's buyout. Brian Kelly, his salary paid by the LSU athletic department is $400,000 a year. That's his salary. The other 9.1 mil, whatever it is, that's paid through TAF, okay? Through donor dollars. So please understand this. Do not tell me the state doesn't have roads and we can't pay teachers and you're going to pay a coach $50 million to not work. No, the very rich, generous people who give money to LSU are taking money out of their bank accounts and giving it to LSU to give Brian Kelly to go away. If you have a problem with that, go yell at the very rich, generous people who are donating money to LSU. But as I tell you all the time, I don't want someone telling me how to spend my money, so I'm not going to tell other people how to spend theirs. If people have millions of dollars they want to commit to paying a man to not work, God bless you, you do you. But please do not come at me today with any notion of, well, the optics are bad because the state is not paying Brian Kelly $1. They're not. The state of Louisiana is not paying Brian Kelly not to work, okay? I'll tell you sort of how this is structured. So Brian Kelly's contract, which I did look at a week ago, he is paid approximately $800,000 per month. Right, so we had the 10-year, $95 million deal. It's equal installments. So if you just look at roughly 10 years, 12 months a year, 120 months, you take $95 million divided by 120 months. That gives you the monthly installment that Brian Kelly would be paid over the life of the contract through December of 2031. Okay, so he's got 6 more years on the deal. The buyout does not have a lump sum. That's a good thing. For example, Mark Stoops at Kentucky, this is a big sticking point there. His buyout after the season is $40 million, but it is all due in full, paid in full within 60 days of his termination. So if Kentucky wants to fire Mark Stoops, they got to come up with $40 million, boom, to make him go away within 60 days. That's much more challenging than saying, you know what, we're already paying Brian Kelly $800K a month. We're going to keep paying him $800K a month for the next 6 years, which is effectively where LSU is. Also, there is mitigation in his contract. What that means is if he gets another job, his buyout is offset by that number. So I don't know if Brian Kelly is going to coach again. I got an email in my inbox today, which were the betting odds for Brian Kelly's next coaching job. For example, I'll look at this right now. It's His next coaching job, Arkansas, is 3-1. How about that? Arkansas, UCLA, Virginia Tech, Stanford, Oklahoma State, UNLV. I don't know if he'll coach again. I don't know. I don't know that Brian Kelly loves this era of college football, and he may go the Nick Saban route and go do TV. But the mitigation does extend to a media deal, meaning if Brian Kelly gets a TV contract, a job doing TV or media, whatever he's paid to do that job, his buyout is lessened by that amount. So there's some mitigation in there, which is a good thing. There has been also this conversation about a settlement. Would Brian Kelly accept a lesser amount for his contract? And that was presented, as I'm told, to Brian Kelly and his agent on Sunday. A lump sum settlement of his deal. Would you take a lump sum now, a lesser amount lump sum? And he declined. So faced with a $54 million buyout, the governor, the board of supervisors, and a group of very influential boosters met at 5 o'clock on Sunday at the governor's mansion to discuss this, the buyout. Did Scott Woodward have the authority to fire Brian Kelly, to pay him this, to agree to this buyout, all that sort of stuff, and what they would do with the buyout? And what they agreed to is effectively, we're not going to do anything. Just keep paying Brian Kelly the $800K per month per his contract right now, and they can discuss and negotiate whatever that buyout settlement terms may look like at a future date. But they're moving forward as a program. They'll keep paying Brian Kelly, but they have not agreed to a settlement. I know there was a report on Monday that they had agreed to a settlement of a lesser sum. I can tell you that is not true. There, as of right now, Monday, there has not been an agreement between Brian Kelly and LSU on a settlement. That has not happened. So, and Ross Dellinger reported that may be weeks, months, and it may be weeks or months. They'll cross that bridge at a future time, and I think a lot of that will have the governor's involvement as a new university president is going to be hired and new board members as seats turn over, and there will be a trickle-down effect through all of that as it's involved. But I think there's another key part of this, and I want to discuss it. I need to break, so I stay on time. So let me knock out a break. I want to come back. I want to discuss what I think is the other key part of most of you and I. We don't. Brian Kelly's money is his money, and rich people are going to pay that buyout. It doesn't affect you and me. But to what degree it affects the LSU program is what I want to discuss. And we'll do that when we come back at AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. You've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Of course, love telling you about Gordon, not only the great work that he does, he and his staff and his team of attorneys representing injured people in our state, but also the many ways they give back. On December the 11th, I'm excited about it. We got a little ways, but I'll be doing AFR at Gordon's office because that's the day they're going to be doing their bicycle giveaway. Every year around the holidays, Gordon does a big bike giveaway where he gives away bicycles to less fortunate children in all the different cities across the state that they represent. And just another way of the many ways that Gordon and his family and their office gives back to the less fortunate in our communities. They love giving back to the communities they serve, as Gordon often says, that have given him and his family so much. So, love telling you about Gordon and all the things they do. And, of course, if you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, you know what to do. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Get Gordon and get it done.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal. Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's. One love. Let's go.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
I got a text from Lane on the text line. Any timetable on the hire of a president and new AD? I will. The new AD part, I think we need to clarify is speculative, and that's going to throw a lot of people off when they hear that. And I do want to talk about Scott Woodward, his future at LSU, and I'm going to do that in 1 hour. So at the bottom of hour number 2. This whole day is going to be discussing everything about Brian Kelly's firing, the program, who's next, all the finances, all of it. So just buckle up and hang out with us all day. If you have to leave, come back. You can catch us on YouTube, on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel, WBTR. Of course, Baton Rouge, Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles, just podcast. Appreciate everybody for being. If you're with us on YouTube, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're there for the first time. But the question about the president, the new president, is a good one. And there is, of course, a presidential search committee. And this is all public record, by the way. If you go to the LSU website, the Board of Supervisors website, you can pull this up, Paul, thank you. There's a search committee website. It says who's on the committee. There's the agendas, the meeting schedule. There's a meeting scheduled for later this week. And then there's another one in November, at which point this committee, this presidential search committee, will have to make their recommendation. So guessing you will have a new president, you at least know who the new president is, who the recommendation is for the new LSU president next month, sometime in November. So to put it this way, before the football season is over, you will know who the new president of LSU is. I think is a safe and realistic assumption. And why that matters, of course, is because the athletic director reports to the president of the university. And then, of course, if you're wondering how the governor is all tied into this, the president of the university will be approved by the Board of Supervisors. The Board of Supervisors, members of the board, are appointed by the governor. So when the next board member's term off, Governor Landry will appoint the newest members, and at that point, he will have a majority of the board members appointed under his leadership. So they will effectively enact what he wants, if that makes sense. So the governor has a lot of say in all of how this is going to go down. But before we went to break, I mentioned that with respect to Brian Kelly's buyout, I think there is a very important thing to keep in mind. That, you and I, who aren't going to write checks to help pay Brian Kelly's buyout, but who care very much about LSU, the university, the football program, athletics, all of it, will be interested in. Make no mistake, the college football world and agents who represent coaches are watching how are watching how LSU handles the Brian Kelly buyout situation. The number of phone calls in the last 24 hours, coaches, agents, boosters, admins, like everyone in the country wants to know what's happening here. Like, we all think of LSU as a very prominent job. We're all very proud of LSU, and we think of it in those terms. But it's true. Like, it's not just our opinion because we live here, love the school, went there, whatever the case may be. LSU is a top 10, maybe top 5 job in the country. Like, it's in that conversation. And so people are going to be interested to see how LSU handles this because we're at a very pivotal point in college football. In this era, this NIL, rev share, transfer portal era, everyone has seen their expenses go up because of the money you have to spend on your roster. So everyone is looking right now at all these coaches' contracts and the buyouts. And this year is going to be an extreme example. Like Jimbo's $76 million buyout at Texas A&M forever has been that scarlet letter. But now you have Penn State paying nearly $50 million to buy out James Franklin. You have Florida with Billy Napier. Now you have LSU paying north of $50 for Brian Kelly. And it's a cautionary tale for how these contracts are done. But the other part of this that's important is if you sign a coach to a deal like this, $100 million with the guaranteed money, with the buyout, 95% of it guaranteed. And on the back end, it goes awry, and then you try to finagle your way out of paying that buyout. That could be a very poor reflection on your athletic department. So I understand that there's a meeting on Sunday night at the governor's mansion with the governor and the board and boosters, all trying to discuss ways potentially around or how to manage this very significant buyout that Brian Kelly has. Do you fundraise the 54? Do you continue to pay $800K a month for the duration of it? Do you negotiate a lesser settlement amount? Some of you have asked, and I don't mind saying that there have been whispers of maybe attempting to exercise the for-cause component of Brian Kelly's contract, which would nullify the buyout. I don't believe that would happen, but maybe that could be used as leverage to get him to negotiate a lesser number. But all of that said, that might save you money on this deal. But what message is that sending to the college football, to the next coach? Because I'm going to tell you straight up, if you think you're going to go hire Lane Kiffin, if you think you're going to go hire Dan Lanning and get those guys to leave their very, very stable, solid situations to come take your job, and if you think you're going to get them to take that job for anything less than a $100 million contract with all the same guarantees you gave Brian Kelly, you're high. Why would Lane Kiffin leave his job where he's got a roster that's probably going to make I'd be stunned if they didn't make the playoff this year. Why would he take your job without guarantees? Why would Dan Lanning leave Oregon without the same guarantees you just gave Brian Kelly? And if what you show to the college football world and the agents that represent these coaches is, oh, we'll sign you to the deal, but on the back end, we're not going to negotiate in good faith. We're going to try to weasel our way out of paying the buyout if it goes sideways. That's why I think it is so important to be fair and ethical in business and in these conversations. The bottom line is, regardless of what happened with Brian Kelly at the end, it went badly. I get it. You gave him that contract. You went to Brian Kelly, who could have stayed at Notre Dame for the remainder of his career. Could have. But the way you got him to leave South Bend was by guaranteeing him $100 million. $95 million. 10 years, $95 million. 9.5 per year. That's how you got him to leave South Bend. You made him an offer he couldn't refuse. So, honor that agreement. You were the one who made the decision to fire him. He didn't walk away. You fired him. He's lost 3 games, lost 3 of the last 4. The last one was embarrassing. You could say he lost the locker room, all that stuff, and I'm not disagreeing with any of that. Saturday night was hideous. Hideous. But you gave the man a contract. Honor the contract you gave him. That would be my opinion, my advice. As much as that's going to hurt financially, it could potentially hurt even more when you go to make future hires if you get the reputation of not negotiating in good faith and not willing to honor the contract that you offered this coach, that you signed with this coach 4 years ago because it didn't work out. Well, that's your fault. You're the one who gave him the $95 million contract with 90% of it guaranteed. Own it. You have to do right by Brian Kelly. You gave him the contract, and unless you want this to affect your ability to sign future marquee coaches, you have to honor this deal. All right, it's after further review. We got a ton to do today, y'all. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Doesn't matter if it's 1,000 acres for agriculture. Maybe you live in New Orleans and you're thinking, God, I'd love to maybe live the rural lifestyle but continue to work in the city. This happens so much. People will call First South Farm Credit. They got an office right there in a meet. You want to live in Tangipahoa Parish. You can buy your land on the North Shore, live, enjoy that rural lifestyle, drive across the causeway, work in the city. So many people choose that option. Maybe Baton Rouge, you want to move up to St. Francisville, buy that 20, 50, 100-acre plot of land, build your big, beautiful home, and then drive into the city. You could do that. And First South Farm Credit can make it happen. Maybe you want that recreational property. Tired of sharing your hunting property, your hunting lease. Get your own. First South Farm Credit can make it happen. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com for First South Farm Credit. All right, y'all, it's after further review. We're glad you're aboard with us here on a busy day. I mean, it's a one-topic day. We're talking all things LSU and Brian Kelly. So if you want to weigh in, and look, I mean, it's one of those things we were talking before the show. On a different day, we're talking about Tyler Shuck, replacing Spencer Rattler. We're talking about an embarrassing loss to Texas A&M, so many different things. But LSU fires a coach. Something that happens about, once every 5 years or so around here. We're going to talk about it in every angle. So we'll continue with the reaction to Brian Kelly being fired. Peter Burns is going to join us. He's the only guest today. We have Peter every Monday, the SEC Network. Love to get the SEC reaction from Peter. We'll do that coming up here in about 15 minutes. We're glad you're hanging out on AFR.
AFR.
GLO. GlowResources.com. GlowResources.com. Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. I always say complete employer solutions. Actually, their slogan used to be complete employee solutions. They changed it because you realize at Glow Resources, they don't work for the employee. They work for the employer. They work for you, the business owner, you, the HR manager, you, the operations manager, the hiring manager, whoever in that business is responsible for finding the right people to make your business more efficient. Doesn't matter what type of business it is. Maybe it's an accounting firm. Maybe you're an engineering firm. Maybe you're a media company, a law firm. Doesn't matter. If you need skilled blue-collar labor, any type of office job, from office assistants to C-level management, Glow Resources has the expertise and the network to find the right employee, the permanent solution for your business. So if you're struggling in the rat race of finding the right people and you need help, you need Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com, complete employer solutions.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builder School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Second down, goal to goal. The ball placed just inside the A&M 7. Shotgun snap. The give to Berry. Trying to go left side. Berry got a seam into the end zone. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers.
Little did we know that would be as good as it got. Harlem Berry, the freshman, scoring on Saturday night against Texas A&M. I know no one's really interested in recapping that game, and I don't blame you. But the reason I bring that up, there was a text. You can always text the show, by the way, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. I do want to take the opportunity to explain also. That text, that's an app that I pay for. It's called Community. It allows you to text me. That's an app on my phone that I pay for where you can text me anytime, and I can in turn text you back. So some choose to interact one-on-one, and a lot of times whenever there's breaking news, I send it through that text app. So if you're interested, it's free for you. I pay for it, but it's just another way to have a communication source, and I use it here on the show. Anyway, Daniel said, I'm sure you'll get to talking about it, but my big concern with the firing is how it shakes up the upcoming recruiting class, especially with how strong 2027 is. Yes, so I think that is a valid concern, Daniel. I think it's a big reason why Frank Wilson was chosen as the interim coach, as your recruiting coordinator, to try to keep this, not only the roster presently, but the future recruiting classes in place. Listen, you lose a coach, there's always going to be attrition. It is 100%, 100% of the time a coach is fired, there's attrition. Guys on the current team that leave, recruits that flip, it is a 100% certainty that it will happen. What you want to do is minimize it. Well, how do you do that? Well, Frank Wilson is certainly a guy that could help keep that together right now. And in a sort of odd twist, on the day where all of this is happening, where Brian Kelly was fired a day ago, Joe Sloan has been fired. LSU actually picked up a commitment today from Kervin Johnson. He's a wide receiver out of Tioga. So, I mean, not all bad, I guess, in that respect. But so much of this keeping the roster together is going to depend on who the next coach is, right? Everyone's going to want to see who's coming in, what style of play will there be. But, we played the Harlem Berry soundbite coming out, because I think that is actually the bigger question here, is roster retention. Because remember, when a coach is fired, players on that roster can enter the transfer portal. So when you look at a player like Harlem Berry, who had a great performance on Saturday in his first start. I mean, he was averaging 7 yards a carry in the first half and then had 1 rushing attempt in the second half. Part of the reason I'm sure why Joe Sloan is no longer employed. We'll talk more about that later. But the point being, it is very important to retain your current roster, because you better believe in this culture of college football, while another school can't contact the player, every school has representatives and every player has agents, and those third parties can communicate. And you better believe that's happening right now to see who's available. The vultures are out. So it's imperative for Frank Wilson and his coaching staff to keep this team together, this roster together, not only for the remainder of the season, for the final month, but for whatever and whoever will be next in 2026 and beyond. All right, it's after further review. We are brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Gents, if you're thinking of popping the question, make sure you get by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. For 40 years now, Lee Michaels has helped Louisianians get engaged. We're getting close to the holiday season. Thrill her with a gift in the red box. Maybe it's an anniversary, maybe it's a birthday, maybe it's a promotion, any great event to celebrate. Celebrate it with a beautiful piece of jewelry in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com. Okay, y'all. Peter Burns of the SEC Network is coming up next. Stay with us here on this
AFR.
All right. Peter Burns of the SEC Network is coming up here in just a smidge right after SportsCenter, which we'll get to in a second. We're brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. OLOLRMC.com/LSU. OLOLRMC.com/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU together, we roar. Of course, Our Lady of the Lake is not only the championship health partner of LSU Athletics, taking care of student athletes, but also with the Student Health Center contract. Our Lady of the Lake physicians take care of the LSU students and everyday champions like you and me. As a matter of fact, I've told you before, I'm a member of the Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group. Dr. Kurt Chastain is my primary care physician. Our buddy Chris Marler, who works with us at Louisiana Sports and Ed, just moved to Louisiana. He said, I don't have a doctor, I need a physician. Got any recommendation? I said, yeah. Our Lady of the Lake. OLOLRMC.com/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builder School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Max Scherzer will make World Series history when he takes the mound for Toronto tonight in Game 3 versus the Dodgers. 7 Eastern ESPN Radio. The 41-year-old will be the first pitcher ever to start a fall classic with 4 different organizations. LA counters with Tyler Glasnow. As speculation swirls regarding the head coaching openings at LSU in Florida, Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin told the Pat McAfee show today money will not impact his decision-making. The rumors regarding Kiffin won't let up no matter what he says. Notes Paul Feinbaum show host Paul Feinbaum.
He's a charismatic coach. He's colorful, and he's also an offensive genius, as we saw Saturday in Norman when Ole Miss beat Oklahoma in a mild upset. So will Kiffin leave is the question. His team has just about already stamped a playoff bid. That will be the question as we get closer to the end of the season.
This just in from the NFL. Vikings quarterback Carson Wentz underwent season-ending surgery on his left shoulder. An MRI confirmed Bills standout defensive tackle Ed Oliver has a torn biceps, is out indefinitely. Falcons not planning any changes following the 24-point loss to Miami, according to coach Raheem Morris.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, the Packers sit at 5-1-1 and at the top of the NFC. But are they number one in my power rank? Find out at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. It's Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. It's a one-topic day. Open the show talking about my reaction to Brian Kelly being fired, how it all played out. Spent a lot of last hour talking about the buyout details, where LSU goes from here with that. But there's tons of different angles here to discuss, including who might be next. And there's a couple of SEC coaches on the docket. Good time to bring aboard Peter Burns of the SEC Network.
This week in the SEC with Peter Burns.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Let's separate the contenders from the pretenders.
Number 11 of the defense. Throwing the LSU player's shoe 20 yards down the field.
With Peter Burns of the SEC Network. Presented by Blue Delta Jeans.
Yo, man, how are you?
You ever feel like, and actually, I don't know, you probably haven't felt that, but like you've been just in a relationship and all of a sudden it ends and it feels a little freeing and you kind of almost feel guilty for how the freedom that you have? That's how I feel right this very moment.
Okay. Let me get a reaction, PB, when you first saw the news that Kelly was being fired.
Surprised, but not surprised. I mean, obviously we saw the hammer come down for James Franklin, so you knew that, all right, well, if it can happen at that point for 65 or however many millions it was for Franklin, it could happen here. And I think the not surprising aspect of it was looking at Tiger Stadium on Saturday night. I mean, I don't ever recall seeing that stadium look that way, where a rival comes out there and takes over your spot in the way that they, basically shoved you in a locker for that second half. And I wouldn't say that there was a quit, but it's one thing when your team's not winning games. But I said this on my show, and I said it all week long. Even the wins under BK never even felt that much fun. Yeah, Bama against, Bama that first year, Jaden Daniels hit the 2-point conversion. That was fun. But outside of that, even the wins were just kind of okay. It felt different.
Yeah, the ranked wins were few and far between. 5-11 against ranked teams is the number a lot of people throwing out today. You cover the league. Is LSU the best job available?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, you can go, if you can say that 3 different coaches have won national championships there, yes, there's no doubt. The fan base is unparalleled. The brand is great. You've got all of the recruiting, all of it. It's better than Arkansas and it's better than Florida. I don't think that there's a doubt right now.
What about if you throw Penn State into the mix?
Doesn't matter. It's still LSU. LSU is a crown jewel. I would put it right up there with any, I think it's top 3 of any program or any job that's out there right now.
What would be the other 2?
All joking aside, the brand of Texas is such a huge brand and has so much money behind it. And the fact that they haven't had a lot of success as of late as far as winning national championships, that's something that is up there. Ohio State's probably on that list. And I'd probably put LSU coming in at one of those 3, depending on what stirs your drink.
Okay. Ahead of Georgia?
It's tough for me to even look at Georgia in the fact of Kirby is so locked in there that I don't even think of Georgia in those terms at any point.
Yeah.
It's not like he's not going to the NFL. He'll die there. He'll build statues of him. And I think that's the intriguing part of what everybody wants to talk about Lane is that, is LSU a better job than Ole Miss? I firmly believe it. But at the same point is let me ask you this question. If Lane somehow, let's live in a world and Lane Kiffin comes to Baton Rouge and wins a title, just one, is he the greatest coach in LSU history? Is he the second greatest coach? You can argue if the next coach comes in here and he wins just one, not multiple, but one national championship, he might still be the 3rd most beloved head coach behind probably Ed Orgeron for what he brought in 2019 and Nick Saban for starting it all.
Yeah. Peter Burns is with us. I don't know Lane Kiffin. I've never had an interaction more than just asking him questions in a press conference setting, a casual hello. I don't know him at all. You've had way more interactions. Do you believe that he would leave? Just your opinion. I'm not pegging you against the wall in this or anything. Do you believe he would leave Ole Miss?
I think he would. And again, I'm not saying that he will. I think that there is a conversation. I think the conversation with Florida is more is this necessarily that much better of a job than what I'm already building here, right? And I don't know if you can definitively say that. With LSU, that's a different echelon of job, I believe. And so I think, there's much more of a serious chance of Lane being to do that. But then again, is there such thing as a surefire hire? I would have thought Scott Frost at Nebraska, I would have put my life earnings that would have worked out. And it didn't. And I don't know if there's something that you're going to go leverage your future on, hoping that that's the guy that brings it there.
It's interesting that you went Scott Frost to Nebraska. I just think Nebraska has so many variables working against it. But I don't want to belabor the point. I understand what you're saying, that there is no such thing as a sure thing. Would Lane Kiffin to LSU be your number 1 choice?
I think no. My first call is, if we have a president of the United States that was 78 and the last one was 87, I'm calling Nick Saban and making him tell him no. But, other than that, Yeah, Lane would be number one. Dan Lanning would be number two, but I don't think he wants to get rid of, the Nike money and the Oregon stuff out there. Those are probably my top two. And outside of that, then I think you completely rethink what you want and what I need as an LSU fan, not as a media member, but what I need is somebody that wakes up pissed off thinking that somebody caught up with LSU football today. Because I know Kirby thinks that way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Dan Lanning thinks that way. I think Ryan Day over at Ohio State felt that way. And I don't know if I felt that at the end or if ever under Brian Kelly, and I need that. If I'm going to spend my hard-ass money to go to an LSU game and to sacrifice and give everything and the NIL and all of this stuff, I need somebody that cares as much as I do. And I think that was the disconnect that led to the demise over there with BK.
He's on Twitter at Peter Burns, ESPN. Give him a follow. Our chats every Monday are brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. You can look him up online at bluedeltajeans.com. An interesting name that has been brought up a bunch here. Like, there's the ones you just mentioned, right? The pipe dream of Saban, or then Kiffin, Lanning, whatever. But that next tier that I keep getting mentioned, PB, there's Jed Fish, there's Dan Mullen, and there's Eli Drinkwitz. What do you think about Drink?
I think that if you paired him with Blake Baker, I think that is as good of a 1-2 punch as you can find right here, right now. Because I know Blake loved Drink. And albeit outside of that game, I think Blake's done a great job with that defense. And I don't want to keep him here in Baton Rouge. I mean, I was told by people that knew Drink that said, man, if Drink ever got something as far as one of these perennial top, quote unquote 10 or top 5 jobs, that you'd be surprised that Drink would absolutely crush it. And I think that if you can do that over the years in Como, especially now that he's given up the play calling duties, Kirby Moore, but that's a hell of a dynamic trio that you could look at if he wanted to be a part of it as well.
Peter Burns, SEC Network, good enough to hang out with us here. What else do you think is part of this conversation that is the thing we should all be talking about? Be it Kelly fired, all the dynamics of it, or who's next, and anything.
Listen, the wild card of here is Jeff Landry getting involved, the governor. And listen, we all know, politics has always been a part of LSU and athletics and whatnot. But I feel like that's more of a wild card than ever before. And I feel like there's a little bit of the Jeff Landry, showmanship of Huey P. Long that wants to get involved. And then all of a sudden, if you're selecting the entire board and you got a brand new president there, you can kind of go any direction you want. And that's the only reason why I worry about it, because I look at what happened with the Mac Brown or North Carolina situation, where they went over and beyond Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director, and they got a bunch of people that didn't really know football, and they're like, what would be really cool? Getting Bill Belichick here, that would be awesome. Well, that's a disaster. And you can't do that with a brand like LSU, and I sure as hell hope but that doesn't happen.
Peter Burns, boy, it sure feels like he's wielding his influence in certain ways. It is going to be a fascinating next month or so around here, 4 to 6 weeks. We always appreciate it, man. We'll visit again next week when we're starting to get ready for LSU Alabama.
Hey, by the way, can you imagine if you had to host radio in a boring sports town?
No.
I mean, we get the best of all worlds. We talk about the chaos that is LSU football, national championships with Jay Johnson and Mulkey and Jay Clark and McMahon. I mean, you got the best damn beat out there. Congratulations.
PB, I've never, I don't mention this often, but I've had opportunities to leave here for big markets. And what? Why would I leave? That's what I ask. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Go to Atlanta and talk about the Hawks? No, I'm good. Thanks.
No,
I'm good.
You got to be passionate. And again, I think that was a disconnect. I always felt like Brian Kelly loved the idea of being the coach at LSU, but I don't think he woke up every single morning going, holy hell, what am I doing to make LSU better? And I think you wake up going, how the hell am I going to talk to my LSU fans about this? And I think you've got to have passion for it. And again, I don't think LSU, last thing on this thing, I don't think LSU is built for a made man, a guy that's already created his legacy. I think it's more about how are you going to create your legacy with all of these weapons and all of this real estate in front of you. And that's what LSU needs to be after next.
Always appreciate it, man. Thank you for the time.
God, they almost hired you in Atlanta. God, they must have been desperate. Love you. Bye.
See you. I didn't say Atlanta. I just hypothetically threw out the Hawks. I could have been talking about the St. Joe's. Isn't St. Joe's the Hawks? St. John? St. John or St. Joe's? One of those is the Hawks. St. John's the Red Storm.
Storm. That's what I was
St.
going to
Joe's.
say.
St. Joe's in Philly are the Hawks.
Okay.
Could have been Philly. Maybe it was Philly.
Philly?
No, we'll see. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. Hey, a ton of rain this weekend. Finally got water intrusion. Mold, musty smell, mildew. Call Parish Restoration. They'll knock out the mold, the odor. Maybe there's like a sickness going through your home, your office building, a little virus going through. You want to knock that out? Let Parish Restoration come in, spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. Go to parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Go to the website, fill out the form on the homepage, and get your free estimate today, parishrestoration.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review, Monday edition, brought to you by Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. We'll knock out a quick break, come back. Everyone has asked who is next, so we'll run through the list, the pros and cons. Bottom of this hour, I do want to talk about Scott Woodward, his future at LSU, all the stuff therein. So a ton to do, and we will at some point as well get to the Joe Sloan reaction and where LSU goes from here without Joe Sloan as the OC and Alex Atkins replacing him. Just a ton to do. Buckle up and stay here on AFR.
AFR.
You want lightning fast internet speeds? Who doesn't? Rev can make it happen. 5 gigs. Are you kidding me? Let'sRev.com, R-E-V, Let'sRev.com. I mean, you get 90 years of local service, lightning fast speeds. Again, local people who are there to be responsive to you, not some answering service 500 miles away. It's Rev for your home or for your business, and it's backed by the certainty of an all-fiber network. I told you a couple of weeks ago they were trenching in my yard, and I was thrilled that they were, because they were laying fiber in my neighborhood. So it's at your home or your office building, you want that all-fiber, lightning-fast network, you want Rev. So go to letsrev.com. Switch today, y'all. R-E-V. Letsrev.com. Letsrev.com. Go give my folks at Rev a shout. Letsrev.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Well, they enter the most robust carousel likely in the history of college football. And they also enter direct competition with Florida for the top end of the coaching market in the southeast quadrant of the country. The first name on the lips of power brokers at both schools, obviously, is Lane Kiffin. If not, names like Jeff Brom at Louisville, Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri, and John Summerall down the road at Tulane are going to be in the forefront of this search for LSU.
That is Pete Thamel on SportsCenter talking about laying out what's next for LSU. Of course, LSU's fired Brian Kelly, so now the search begins for his replacement. And obviously, the most important question that you have to answer is, are you willing to spend $100 million on your next coach? Before we have any conversation about who is next, I mean, we're going to have the conversation. But before we have any realistic conversation, we have to know two things. Number one, who is making this hire? And number two, it's a very key part of this, which is, are you willing to spend $100 million on whoever is next? Because make no mistake, if today you're dreaming about Lane Kiffin, if today you're dreaming about Dan Lanning, then you are starting with a $100 million contract. There's no way around that. I don't care how you structure it, you're going to pay that person 9 figures and you're going to guarantee it. So the question is that the pool that you want to be fishing in? And maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is yes. I also don't know who is going to be making this hire. My preference, if I could have a pie in the sky, I'm assuming Nick Saban's not going to coach again. But if I had a pie in the sky dream scenario, my preference would be Dan Lanning. That would be my choice. I think he checks all the boxes of what I would be looking for with Dan Lanning. I understand that just this past March, he got a new 6-year deal with Oregon. I understand he turned down Alabama. I'm not telling you he would take the job. But in his time as the coach at Oregon, he is 42-7. And I love the fact that he was a GA at Bama under Nick, and he coached with Kirby from 2018 to 2021. He is rooted in their culture. I love that. And you have a young guy at 39 years old who is made for this era of college football. He's in his 4th season at Oregon, so it's a small sample size, but he has built his program at Oregon. 10-3, 12-2, 13-1, and right now they're 7-1. Their home loss to Indiana, the only blemish this year. So I look at a guy who is from Missouri, but has coached all over the South, has coached under Nick and Kirby, is young, and has had success in a power conference and understands this era. That would be my number one choice ahead of Lane Kiffin. And I will tell you that I understand the risk associated with going and giving someone a $100 million deal. I understand because you just lived it. But if you're LSU, you ask yourself the question, can you afford to miss again? And I would say no. My feeling has always been when it comes to LSU hiring coaches, like you're LSU. I mean, we just had Peter Burns of the SEC Network on with us. Said he put LSU as a top 3 job in the country. Top 3, top 5, top 10, whatever you want to call it. It's in that echelon. You have a lot to offer. So the thing that's the biggest concern for me, if you went after an established veteran coach, is what happened with Nick and Brian Kelly and Dabo Swinney and Mike Gundy and these coaches from a different era that don't love this era. They got into this profession to recruit high school talent, develop guys, build culture over years. They didn't get in it to see players paid and NIL and portal and leaving. It's completely different. And handing over authority to a GM to help build a roster is different. And I respect that. I respect very much the people who came in a different era, don't love this, they get out. Okay, I respect that. So I'd rather someone who accepts that and embraces that and can maximize that. Well, Dan Lanning's shown he can do it. So you're blending the best of what I think is both worlds. That would be my choice. Dan Lanning would be my choice. I have no idea if you have an ice cube's chance in hell of getting Dan Lanning out of Oregon. No idea. He's got Phil Knight Nike money. He's got a blank checkbook, with an open checkbook, whatever he wants to spend. He's got it. Phil Knight reportedly has said that. All that stuff. What I will say also is it ain't easy to recruit to Oregon. I understand they got the flashy uniforms, they got Nike money and all that stuff, but there's a lot of people who hop on a plane from the South and don't like flying 4 hours to get to Eugene. Flying to Portland, drive up, whatever it is. You know what I mean? There's a physical regional barrier that he has to cross. Look, Deuce Gerald's the guy currently committed to LSU. It was LSU Oregon. The thing that swung Gerald's to LSU when all else was equal was the fact that his family's from here, he's got family that lives here, family's in Atlanta. I mean, it's far and expensive to fly your ass to Oregon every weekend and watch a football game. I get it. That'd be my choice. But I think the other thing to consider is if you don't go, listen, maybe they end up getting past that and it's someone among the Eli Drinkwitz, Jed Fish, who's a Florida guy who's coaching at Washington, Dan Mullen, who I think Dan Mullen would be a really strong choice. Dan Mullen can coach football. He is a really good offensive mind, brilliant game caller, schemer, all that stuff. Dan Mullen hated to recruit. Guess what? You don't have to recruit in this era. Not like you did. You recruit with a checkbook. I think Dan Mullen is perfect for this era, that he wasn't perfect for the previous era. If you get past that list, I know some people have mentioned John Summerall at Tulane. Listen, I think John Summerall has done an awesome job. But you know the but that's going to follow. The same reason 4 years ago, nobody was interested in Napier because you can't hire the coach from UL Lafayette. You're going to have people in this state, right or wrong, you're going to have people in this state who say you can't hire the coach from Tulane. Okay. I ain't making the decision. I think you do limit yourself from hiring potentially an awesome coach who I think has done an amazing job as an X and O guy, a culture guy, did it at Troy, now doing it at Tulane. He inherited a good situation from Willie Fritz, no doubt, but he's built upon it. I think if you're going to go that route, Summerall would be a great hire. I also know the culture around LSU, and there's a lot of people who are going to say, you're not hiring the coach from Tulane. It'll be a hard no just because of that, which is short-sighted, but I think that's the reality for some people. I'm going to tell you the other thing to consider is if you decide you're not going to do the $100 million contract and you're going to try to go a different route, I think it has to be something that's built around how the current state of college football is structured, and that is an NFL model. You have a general manager now in place who by and large is moving the pieces on the chessboard financially to determine who you're spending, what you're spending on who, how, and where. Yes, the head coach will have autonomy to make decisions on certain players and all this. That'll always be the case. But it is different now. And having someone with an NFL background matters. Because you can come into a situation where you recognize there's a GM in place, in this case, Austin Thomas at LSU, who's going to have a lot of authority and autonomy when it comes to building the roster and maintaining the roster and the money and all that sort of stuff. And the coach can go coach. You do your job, I'll do my job. And the two names with ties to LSU that would be interesting are Joe Brady and Kelvin Shepard. Hear me out. Now, I would not have been interested in Joe Brady 4 years ago, to be abundantly clear. I think Joe Brady gets way too much credit. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve any. I'm saying he gets way too much credit for 2019. Steve Ensminger was the OC. He ran the offense. He called the plays. Brady brought some concepts in, undeniably, that were valuable, and Brady worked with the receivers. I probably could have worked with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and done okay. They are awesome. But I think he deserves some credit. I think he's gotten too much credit over the years. I'm not surprised he failed in the first go-round at Carolina, but he's done an amazing job in Buffalo. It helps when you have the MVP as your quarterback in Josh Allen, but the way Brady unlocked that Buffalo offense was with the running game. As a guy with a passing background, it's the running game in Buffalo that's been the unlock. That versatility showed a lot of growth, and I think it's been awesome. Now, Joe Brady might be in line to be a head coach, but what I'll tell you is, in making some phone calls today, this is one of those that you could make work financially a lot of different ways. Joe Brady, I was told today, makes $1.8 million. You could pay Joe Brady $5 million base on an incentive-laden deal that might be interesting enough to get him here. Maybe, maybe not. Kelvin Shepard, who played at LSU, DC right now with Detroit, with the Lions, culture with Dan Campbell there. You could do a similar deal. Or what if you hired them both? What if you hired Joe Brady as your head coach and Kelvin Shepard for $2.5 million, which you're paying Blake Baker right now, as your DC, and you get them both? And you could structure things with an incentive-laden deal. By the way, Jeff Brom at Louisville right now signed an incentive-laden deal with the Cardinals. It can be done. There are, if you've ever looked at an NFL contract, there are provisions in certain contracts, like bonuses that are, the acronym would be like LTBE, likely to be earned bonuses, like will Cam Jordan be on the active roster? Well, of course he is. That's going to unlock a bonus. That's in addition to your base and how it's structured. And then there's NLTBE, not likely to be earned bonuses, which if you hit these incentives and bonuses, boom, there's another $1 million, whatever it may be. The point is, if college football structurally is looking more and more like the NFL, then you need to start building contracts like the NFL does for your coaches, for your players, all the way around, so you can manage this fiscally in a smart way. My preference is, let's go find $100 million and get Dan Lanning here. I would love to see that happen. I'm not sure I believe that's going to happen. And I don't know that there's really a bidding war that would happen that would get Dan Lanning away from Oregon. He already passed on Alabama last year. Now, maybe he didn't want to follow Nick Saban, and maybe there are other criteria there in Tuscaloosa that aren't as appealing as Baton Rouge. I don't know. I don't know Dan Lanning a lick. I'm just looking at resume, criteria, all the stuff I'm looking for. Dan Lanning would be my guy. But if not, then I think you need to look at getting more creative in the way you hire and the way you structure your next coach's contract if you're trying to avoid the $100 million, the $50 million buyout on a $100 million contract. That will be an albatross around your neck for the next 6 years. All right, let me know your thoughts. You can email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Hey, end of this week is the end of the month, and that's when that Michelin deal expires I've been telling you about. You could save nearly $300, $278 off a set of 4 new Michelin tires right now. Stacking rebates, plus when you use your Shaw Bills credit card, free installation. That's $118 value. It's ShawBillsTire.com. You want to learn more about all the specials they got? Do it right now. ShawBillsTire.com. If you need to buy tires, you want the best tires at the cheapest price, you go to Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, y'all, it's after further review. When I got a quick break, I do want to get to, in about 30 minutes at the top of hour number 3, the Joe Sloan offensive coordinator piece of today in this whole firing situation. So we're going to do that. I also will do this when we come back. I want to talk about Scott Woodward. I'm going to need a little bit of a little runway to talk about all this, because I think Scott Woodward's future is certainly in question, and my opinion may very much differ from a lot of yours. And we'll have that conversation next on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark, downtown, Renaissance, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet. Hey, look, if you're planning on hosting an event here in the remainder of 2025, Christmas season is almost here. You're going to have that Christmas party, that company Christmas party. They're booking over at Renaissance Baton Rouge and at Watermark Baton Rouge. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Both are amazing for any size gathering you may have. If it's a wedding reception, if it's a company party, if it's a board meeting, if it's a fundraiser, an awards banquet, whatever type of meeting you may have, they can manipulate their space. Renaissance Baton Rouge has 13,000 square feet of meeting space. It's incredible. They can design it, arrange it however you need to fit your event. So contact them today. I'm my friend Allison Crumps, the event coordinator at both, at Watermark Downtown and Renaissance Southtown. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings at 6 on Talk 107.3.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home, with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
There's no doubt Lane Kiffin will be at the top of the list, and I know that sounds familiar. He's at the top of the Florida list and probably anybody else's list, but that's who he is, Greeny. He's a charismatic coach. He's colorful, and he's also an offensive genius, as we saw Saturday in Norman when Ole Miss beat Oklahoma in a mild upset. So will Kiffin leave is the question. His team has just about already stamped a playoff bid. That will be the question as we get closer to the end of the season.
It's Paul Feinbaum talking about Lane Kiffin. Would he leave Ole Miss? I wanted to talk about Scott Woodward, but I'm not going to have enough time, so this is what I'm going to do. I'll follow up because I got a lot of questions coming in on Twitter and the text line. So I'll answer some of these follow-ups about Kiffin and who's next. And then after the top of the hour, I'll get into the Scott Woodward piece and also Joe Sloan being let go and what it means for the offense the remainder of the season, all that sort of stuff. Lane Kiffin was on Pat McAfee earlier today, and he had his media availability today. So Kiffin has spoken a good bit. Kiffin, in no uncertain terms on McAfee today, described, the fact that money isn't going to be the thing that moves him in a decision here.
I have never made a decision based off of money, nor will I. For a lot of people, they're just like, well, money and it does this and does that. I've seen too many examples in life where money does not buy happiness. So I am never going to make a decision off of money, nor do I care about it. Jimmy Sexton gets really mad when I say that.
He's got enough.
We got to get this. We got to get this. And I'm like, Jimmy, I don't care. And he goes, I do.
Lane Kiffin is in line where his contract is set to escalate to $9 million. He's in line to get north of 10, 11, 12. We'll see what it may be if Ole Miss decides to make him the richest coach in the country, whatever they want to do. But I believe him. I do. Why would we not believe Lane Kiffin? Has there ever been a more transparent coach? I believe him when he says he's not interested in money, meaning that's not going to be the sole driver. I think for Lane Kiffin, what is the driver is where he can win a championship. And I think 4 years ago, LSU or Florida would have been a better option than Ole Miss. I think that is an unequivocally factual statement. And Lane Kiffin did not get an interview from LSU or Ole Miss 4 years ago. And I know he was pissed that he was not considered. But Lane Kiffin has also, in the time since, subsequently, spoken pretty openly about how happy he is at Ole Miss. He has said the words, I needed Ole Miss more than they needed me. He seems very happy there, content, but I also believe he wants to win a championship. And what this year is probably proving to him is a feeling that he can do it at Ole Miss. Indiana's the number 2 team in the country. Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech are all in the top 10. Is it possible to win a championship at Ole Miss in a different era? Absolutely not. Zero shot. In this era, if you have commitment and buy-in, yes, you can do it anywhere. And that makes me think he may not leave. Kiffin had a press conference today, Monday, and was asked about speculation surrounding the LSU job. This is what he said.
Very surprising. It's the college world we're living in now. We really, if you think about it, we talk about the players now are like NFL players, how they're paid. And now I feel like the college coaches now are more like the NFL coaches where the firings happen quicker. The NFL coaches see all the time, they get 1-2 years, and you'd be like, well, in college that doesn't happen, because it's harder to build a roster and they give you more time. And it's obviously not the case now. I think it's a product of things that happen. I think that Elko doing such a great job at A&M, I think puts in people's heads like, hey, these buyouts are ridiculous to pay. But I'm sure an A&M right now is sitting there going, okay, well, yeah, that was ridiculous to pay, but we feel pretty good about that right now. So anytime something works, other people go, well, let's go do that.
He's not wrong. Always have the conversation about money and salaries that you never concern yourself with it when you're winning. Do you think anyone at Alabama was like, man, Nick Saban's great, but paying that guy $12 million a year, really straining us? Of course not. Like, not only did he win, but he remade the entire university and city at Alabama and in Tuscaloosa because of the financial boon that he brought, because of the success the football program had over a decade and a half. Nobody cares. They would have spent 10 times that to keep Nick Saban. It only becomes a problem or a question when you're not winning. Now, some of the other questions that people have asked here, as I'm kind of running through the text line, like Donald asked about Joe Brady, who we talked about. Rumors Joe Brady, the Bengals, you need to lock him down before the NFL season's over. The question, the real issue, and by the way, I have no idea about Joe Brady if he would ever leave the NFL, if he wants to be in the NFL. The thing about Joe when he was here was always that he didn't love the recruiting piece and that he wanted to be in the NFL. Well, that's changed dramatically since he was here in 2019. Recruiting isn't really done the manner in which it was before. So I think that dynamic has changed. The timeline is maybe the more interesting component of that because Joe Brady's with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are going to make the playoffs. They may make a deep run in the playoffs, which means they may be playing to the end of January or possibly the beginning of February if they make it to the Super Bowl. Well, guess what? If you're in the NFL on a playoff run, you're going to miss the December signing period, the January transfer portal window, and with no spring portal window now, your roster's set before you're here. So is it even feasible to attract someone from the NFL? That feels very, very difficult to see that happen from the NFL to college. Now, we've seen instances where assistants who have been in the pros have left to join college. Look, this happened in baseball. Wes Johnson was the pitching coach for the Minnesota Twins on a contending team and left in the middle of the season to take the job at LSU. So you could see that, but it's hard to imagine someone like Joe Brady, when the Bills are on a playoff run, leaving Buffalo in the middle of the season to come take the LSU job. How does that work? How is it structured? How does the timeline work? I don't have those answers today, but those are the real challenges you'd face if that's the angle that you were trying to pursue to hire a new coach. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com, WilliamsonEye.com for the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson does amazing work. Fixed me up 7 years ago. Could not be more thrilled. Wake up every day and I see. Don't need contacts, don't need glasses. If that's you and every day you're reaching for your contacts or glasses on that end table, when you wake up in the morning, you're shoving contacts in your eye, don't do it anymore. Having trouble, you're fumbling for your readers because you can't read a menu or paper in front of you or a computer screen or your phone, Dr. Blake Williamson can fix that forever. No matter your age or refractive issue, they have a refractive solution for you to let you ditch the contacts and glasses forever and see 2020. It's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. Okay, it's After Further Review. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 2. And when we come back from to kick off hour 3, I'll get into the Scott Woodward piece of it. I want to talk about Joe Sloan being fired. A ton to do here as we're a one-topic day reacting to Brian Kelly being fired at LSU. Don't you move, it's AFR.
After Further Review.
If you need to sell your home, you want to sell it fast for the most amount of money, you need Darren James. Remember, Darren James has his guaranteed sale program. Hear me out. You hire Darren James. He's going to sit down with you, and you're going to agree to a price and a deadline. If Darren doesn't sell your home at that price by that deadline, he will have your home bought with cash, or he will sell it absolutely free. There's no catch. Call Darren James today. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent agent225.com. Remember, they get the home value tool on the homepage I've told you about before. Go to the website, punch in your address. Using local market data in seconds, it'll tell you how much your home is worth. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builders School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead...
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding. Go, yeah, do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Muso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, Jets and Bengals, couple of really cool moments here for former LSU Tigers. We'll start with Jamar Chase, 12 receptions, 91 yards on the day, 19 targets. With those 12 catches, Jamar Chase has now tied the NFL record for the most catches over a 3-game span. That is 38 catches. That ties the record held with Michael Thomas. As a matter of fact, we'll see what he can do for an encore. The Bengals did lose that football game, however, to the Jets, getting New York their first win. It was Mason Taylor on the receiving end of the game-winning touchdown to defeat Cincinnati. 5 receptions, 34 yards, and that score for Taylor. Pretty cool. And with both those guys making an impact there. Kayshon Boutte, another really solid day. 3 receptions, 75 yards, and a touchdown, a long of 39. Second leading receiver on the day for the New England Patriots. They blasted the Cleveland Browns. And then Liam Cohen, head coach of the Jaguars, met with the media on Monday. Jags are coming off their bye. He was asked about the potential for a trade involving Brian Thomas Jr. Said, quote, "We have no plans on moving Brian Thomas Jr. at all." 27 catches, 365 yards, and a touchdown so far on the year for BTJ. And then lastly, Kevin Gausman got the start in game number 2 of the World Series over the weekend. 6 2/3, 3 earned runs, didn't walk anybody and punched out 6. He did, however, get tagged with the loss as Yoshi Yamamoto was just fantastic on the other side. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. By the way, this Thursday, Rouse's on Burbank and Lee, Harold Perkins Jr. will be there from 6 to 7 p.m., a meet and greet courtesy of Dr. Pepper. He'll be signing autographs, taking pictures. So if you want to meet Harold Perkins, you could do so this Thursday, again, at the Burbank and Lee Rouse's location from 6 until 7 p.m. So write it down. Remember it. Bring your kiddos by to meet Harold Perkins. It'd be really cool. So Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400 if you want to get involved in the show. Thanks to, I know there's tons of people who are, this is one of those one-topic days where obviously there's going to be a heightened interest and awareness, so always encourage you to jump aboard with us. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Please smash that like button. If you're new on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you for being there as well. And to talk about Scott Woodward, his future here after the top of the hour, and try to explain a little bit about I'm hesitating for the words, the power struggle here with the governor and how everything is layered. I want to get into that a little bit because the reason that matters, by the way, is it's hard to talk about who the next coach is going to be without knowing who is going to be hiring the next coach. And if that's someone other than Scott Woodward, then who is that going to be? And that may all be interwoven with the hiring of a new university president, which, of course, will have a heavy influence and fingerprints from the governor. And there's a lot of stuff there, and I want to sort of unpack that a little bit. I just need some time to do it, so we'll do it when we come back after SportsCenter. So we're not going to break. Come back. Get you caught up on national headlines. Hour 3 is next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Arco Power Systems. I've spent about a month now telling you every day about Arco Power Systems and what an incredibly impressive business this is. We talk a lot in this, in this area of the country here in the Gulf about standby generator power. A lot of times we talk about it for your home. Arco Power Systems deals with standby generator power for your business, for that commercial or industrial facility. Arco.com, ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com. When I'm talking about businesses, I mean any business. Grocery stores, gas stations, banks, hospitals, schools, industrial facilities, radio stations. If you need standby generator power or permanently installed standby generator power or rental generator power or to have your generator serviced, you want Arco Power Systems. And by the way, wherever you're listening or watching, Little Rock to Dallas, Houston, Mobile, it's Arco Power Systems.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Parrish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builder School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The World Series resumes tonight in Los Angeles, where the Dodgers will host the Blue Jays, tied up at a game apiece. ESPN radio coverage in 1 hour. Max Scherzer, coming off a strong performance in Game 4 of the ALCS, starts for Toronto. Tyler Glasnow counters for LA. ESPN MLB analyst Doug Glanville.
A guy like Glasnow for the Dodgers, great arm, a little different style than, say, Snell and Yamamoto. Sort of works the big fastball up and the breaking ball. He's not known to just go deep in the game. He can get a little bit wild. So you're going to see the bullpen have to make the difference between these two. But the Dodgers being home, that's going to be a big plus for them for sure.
Doug Glanville on Clinton and Friends. LA is 5-1 at home this postseason. NFL and MRI confirmed Bills defensive tackle Ed Oliver has a torn biceps. He's out indefinitely. Vikings quarterback Carson Wentz will undergo season-ending surgery on his left shoulder. J.J. McCarthy expected to return as Minnesota starter as soon as this Sunday versus Detroit. NBA Timberwolves star Anthony Edwards out 2 weeks due to a right hamstring strain.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3 off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt.
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Top play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. What a show. It's one of those one-topic days that come along not very often in these parts where LSU fires a football coach. They are landmark days in the history of the program, therefore, and thereby a landmark day in the history of our state, because so much of our state's economy runs around the LSU, not only the university, but the football program. So, yes, LSU firing Brian Kelly, presumably paying a $54 million buyout. This is going to be a giant topic of conversation, not just today, but heretofore. I do want to talk. So Brian Kelly was fired on Sunday, and then Joe Sloan was fired Monday. So I do want to talk about Sloan, what it means for the offense, coming up here in about 15 minutes from right now. So much of the conversation is shifting now to who's next. And something you're going to hear me say a lot between now and whenever the time is that LSU hires a new coach is that it's going to be hard to make predictions about who they're going to hire without knowing who is making the hire. And that may be confusing to some because LSU has an athletic director in Scott Woodward. And it would stand to reason that your athletic director is going to make the hire. But if you actually pay attention and put ear to ground and maybe pull back, take the 10,000-foot view on the periphery of everything going around LSU, especially in the past calendar year, there's a lot of things that are becoming increasingly clear. On Sunday at 5 o'clock, there was a meeting at the governor's mansion. It was the governor, members of the board of supervisors, select boosters. Notably absent was LSU's athletic director, Scott Woodward. And at that meeting, they were discussing Brian Kelly's buyout and how to handle that buyout subsequently. And wouldn't it stand to reason that the athletic director would be in a meeting about the buyout for the football coach? I mean, sometimes you see something and like there's the news and there what's really going on. So if you see that and you're not asking, why wouldn't the athletic director be at a meeting with the governor and board members about the buyout for the football coach? Then you're asking the right question. And the answer is because, very clearly, there's friction there. And I don't think I'm speaking out of turn or telling you anything you don't know if you actually pay attention. Look, last January, and one quick preface. I'm gonna issue this preface, but I know for a lot of you it's not going to matter. Because a lot of you who marry yourself to your political party, man, everything that's red is awesome, everything that's blue is evil, everything that's blue is awesome, everything that's red is evil, and there's no in between. I'm not that guy. I'm not political. I don't care. I've met Jeff Landry, really nice guy. I would call myself like an apolitical person. So in this conversation, I don't care if you're red, blue, RD. I don't care. I don't care. Vote for who you want. Live your life. Be a good person. I don't care. Even with that preface, some of you are still not going to believe me, and I don't care about you. So what I'll tell you is the governor over the last year has been making a lot of changes within the LSU system to get people that he wants in place. Okay, he's the governor. It's his prerogative. I don't care. But follow this path. Last January, Winston DeQueer, who was the chief legal counsel for LSU, was told to resign. His services were no longer needed. Over the summer, William Tate took the job at Rutgers. Don't think he was leaving LSU for Rutgers. He was told, find a job because you're not going to be the president here anymore. So now you have a search going on right now for a new university president. The governor very much favors Wade Rouse at McNeese. There are 5 finalists that were announced last week. The governor wants Wade Rouse to be the new president at LSU. Okay, I don't have an opinion on the matter. He might be a brilliant, super qualified guy. And you're about to have more board members term off, and the governor appoints board members. So Governor Landry, like every governor before him, by the way, whether it was John Bell Edwards or Bobby Jindal or Kathleen Blanco or whoever, will have control of the board. So all of those things fall in line. So this isn't If you love Landry, hate Landry, I don't care. That's not the point. It's evident that he's putting the systems in place to get the people in place he wants. Okay, he's the governor. Sure. But that oversight is extending into the athletic department, clearly as well. When the governor has thrust himself into these conversations about buying out a football coach and hiring a football coach or whatever, my personal opinion on the matter is, man, people are hired to do a job. Get out of the way, let them do their job. If they succeed, great. If they fail, replace them. Okay. To suggest that an athletic director doesn't have the autonomy to fire a coach and pay the buyout or whatever, that's kind of silly to me. Like, of course he does. He's the athletic director. That's his job. But without a university president, you have an interim president right now. But remember, the athletic director is hired by the university president vis-a-vis the rubber stamp by the board. But the president and the board work at the pleasure of the governor. So in some respect, the governor has sort of puppet master ability there, authority, if he chooses to use it. And all this to say, look, there's a lot of things that have happened that have put Jeff Landry and Scott Woodward at odds. There was a report at the end of last basketball season about the possibility of Will Wade coming back to LSU. There was a very prominent booster board member from Southwest Louisiana who was pushing for that. The governor wanted it as well. LSU clearly Scott Woodward didn't make that move. I think that set them at odds. I think political differences have set them at odds. There's a lot that Scott Woodward spending. There's a lot of things that they just disagree on. So I get the sense in having a lot of conversations, certainly not only in the last 36 hours, but in the last 12 months, that the governor, Jeff Landry, would like to make a change at athletic director. Is that imminent? Is it in the next coming days, weeks, months? I don't know. I don't have that answer for you. But it's very clear to me when the governor is injecting himself and his authority in the conversations about firing Brian Kelly, the buyout, all that sort of stuff. You better believe he's going to want to have a say in who's making the hire next. And I don't believe he wants that to be Scott Woodward. Now I'll give you my opinion. Okay, so that's laying out to this point what I know to be true and how this has all transpired here in this relative short term. I think Scott Woodward is an exceptional athletic director. I know the thing people always point out, Jimbo's contract and now Brian Kelly's contract. What I will tell you is the Jimbo contract, number one, the contract that Scott Woodward signed Jimbo to was not the problem. It was a 10-year, $75 million deal that averaged 7.5 per year over those years. Scott Woodward was gone when he came to Baton Rouge in 2019. After the COVID year, Ross Bjork signed Jimbo to an extension. The extension is what got Texas A&M saddled with a gigantic buyout, not the initial deal. Because the initial deal, as the years go on, becomes more palatable. Because at the end of that deal, $7.5 million isn't that big of a deal relative to the way salaries are going now. Again, nobody will tell you that part of the story, but that's a giant part of the story. It wasn't the contract they gave Jimbo to get him away from Florida State. It was the extension Ross Bjork gave him. That was really the problem. As far as the Brian Kelly deal, sure, you swung big and you missed. Okay? He also got Chris Peterson to Boise State. He hired Kim Mulkey. He hired Jay Johnson. He hired Buzz Williams at Texas A&M. He's got a long history of hits as an athletic director. facilities, his relationship with boosters to be able to shake the necessary trees to get done what he needs done. Make no mistake about it. Like, you can throw darts at Scott Woodward and talk Jimbo or Brian Kelly's contract. That's fine. And I understand most athletic directors are going to be judged by the success or failure of their football hires. That's the nature of the job. But I'm telling you, Scott Woodward is an outstanding athletic director, and I would hate to see him go. And I would be very comfortable with Scott Woodward making the next football hire because he's a guy that aims big, generally gets the deal done, and that's the kind of hire I would like to see at LSU. Doesn't always work, as evidenced by what just happened with Brian Kelly, but you're reducing risk when you hire more of a proven commodity. So if you ask me, like, if my choice is Dan Lanning, do I think Scott Woodward could get that done? I don't know, but I think he's got a better shot than most. Just something to consider. So I can't give you anything more than what I've said here, which is an understanding that there is a division here with the governor in the state and the current athletic director. I do believe the governor, like he has shown already, is making changes at the administrative level throughout LSU, which is his prerogative to do. I'm not, like, he's the governor of the state. Like, he could do that. I'm not saying he can't. I would hate to see it trickle down to Scott Woodward because I think Scott is an extremely respected, very, very good athletic director who loves LSU and wants to be here. I don't know if that's enough, and we'll continue to follow it. But before we start talking about who the next coach is going to be, we have to know who is going to make that hire, and I'm not certain that it's going to be Scott Woodward. The new president should be announced, I would assume, here within the next month. The Presidential Search Committee has another meeting, I believe this week. I was looking at the website earlier. This week, there's then another one in November before they have to make their recommendation on who to hire. So we should have that answer in relatively short term of who is going to be the new university president. And that will be the person who is ultimately Scott Woodward's boss and make a determination of who is making this football hire sometime, I would assume. Remember, Brian Kelly was hired on November the 30th, the very end of November, back in 2021. So you're talking about 4 or 5 weeks from now, we should know who the next LSU head coach is going to be and who is going to be making that hire. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Brought to you by Evermore. I actually got a text on the show text line just a bit ago. A listener in Alexandria. It was, where was it? I want to give him a shout out. Brian V texted me. Said, found Evermore in Alexandria. Loved it. Tried it. There you go, man. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. Evermore.com. I drink Evermore every single day. Love to carry my 64-ounce bottles with me. Keeps me hydrated. Reminds me to stay hydrated throughout the day. A better form of hydration. Natural artesian water. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. Evermore.com. If you want the 20-ounce bottles, the 32-ounce bottles, the 64-ounce bottles, or if you want to order it online, you can at evermore.com. EVAMOR. Evermore.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Let me not get a break, y'all. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. We're cruising along here. You can always email us, tweet us, or text. Text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get involved. Want to not get a break. The other shoe to drop is that Joe Sloan was fired on Monday. I want to talk about Sloan being fired, the other offensive staff shakeups, and what that means for the remainder of the season and moving forward. We'll get to that next on AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about River City's 1 hour air where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Have you done it yet? Have you called the number? I'm giving you the number in just a second, so here's your opportunity to get your cell phone out or to ask Siri or Alexa to call for you. Get your number, get your phone out because I want you to call this number now. And when you call right now, you're going to talk to a living, breathing human. You're not going to get an answering service with an AI or a bot answering it. It's not going to be a recorded message. You will talk to a human. When you call the number, but how refreshing in 2025, right? When you call this number, you're going to talk to a human. That's going to schedule your service. 752-0001. 752-0001. 752-0001. 752-0001 for River City's 1 hour air. Schedule your pre-season heater safety check. It's easy, y'all. Mention the show. They'll knock $30 off the price. They'll come out to your house to make sure your heater is safe, efficient to run during the coming cold weather months. Don't turn on that heater until you have this done. 752-0001.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Tiger Country is 100.7 The Tiger. In the car on 100.7 FM or on the 100.7 The Tiger app.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
I had to answer questions of being critical with Blake last year, right? I mean, he is doing what he's asked to do to manage the games the way we need to play. We have a top 10 defense, I believe, in the country. And we need to play to that strength. And so sometimes you have to pull back a little bit here and there. He's being a great coach from that perspective. Because, look, offensive coordinator, they want to score points too. But sometimes I'm, tapping the brakes here a little bit in those situations. Because that's going to be the identity of this football team.
Brian Kelly, back in September, talking about Joe Sloan, some of the struggles of the offense. Well, Kelly fired on Sunday. A day later, Joe Sloan joins him as LSU issued that formal release that Sloan is out. There was a lot of conversation over the weekend about potential multiple staff changes. And I could name names, but I think we all understand. You look at the positions that have struggled. The offensive line has struggled. There was conversation around Brad Davis. Special teams was very poor on Saturday against Texas A&M. Monanand was the guy that was mentioned. But ultimately, as I was told today on Monday, the decision was to maintain as much continuity as possible. If you start upsetting the entire staff, then players come back, and in the final month, they have new position coaches, new voices for the final 4 games. trying to maintain some degree of continuity, I think, was important. But a new voice offensively was justified. Listen, I was one of those who was, for the first month of the season, willing to hear the explanation and to give them time. Because a year ago, we saw the Sloan-Nussmeier combination worked. They were top 30 in the country in total offense. They were top 10 in the country in passing offense. You added more weapons this year, Harlem Berry, Berry and Brown. I mean, you traded as Green, taking another step. It didn't make sense that the offense would be this bad. So you look for the why, and there's a lot of things that made sense early. 5 new starters on the offensive line, how much was Nuss slowed with injury, all this stuff. Maybe having a better defense let you lean more on the defense than you otherwise would have. But ultimately, you get to the point where you have a large enough sample size to where you go, whoever you want to blame deserves blame. Joe Sloan deserves blame. Brad Davis deserves blame. Nussmeier at times, poor play, deserves blame. The offensive line has been atrocious. They've gotten Garrett Nussmeier killed this year. They deserve blame. Brian Kelly ultimately deserves all the blame because was the head coach, and obviously the puke goes up the ladder. So, yes, I am not absolving anybody from blame. I think sometimes when guys get fired, though, when coaches get fired, we tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and we fail to recognize things that were good. And Joe Sloan in Baton Rouge did good things. He came here as the quarterback's coach when Brian Kelly came for the 2022 season. And remember, Mike Denbrock was the offensive coordinator and did a fantastic job here. I think we could all objectively acknowledge that. But Denbrock was the tight ends coach. Joe Sloan worked with the quarterbacks. Joe Sloan worked with Jaden Daniels. And if you remember when Jaden came here from Arizona State, the knock on Jaden Daniels was accuracy. His completion percentage numbers at Arizona State were 60.7%, 58.3%, then 65.4%. He comes to LSU, boom, 68.6%, 72.2%. And I'm not saying all of the credit goes to Joe Sloan, but to not give him any credit is disingenuous. In the same way that sitting here today and arguing that the offensive issues had nothing to do with Joe Sloan, that would be disingenuous. Not giving him his due for helping develop Jaden Daniels would also be unfair. I can remember going to fall camp and watching the practices, and they were working so much on accuracy drills. They would put a basket in the back corner of the end zone, and they would move the launch point, left hash, right hash, 5-step drop, and just target practice. They'd have to make throws hitting the left upright, right upright, crossbar. Like, it was just such a drilled thing that Joe did with those quarterbacks that we got to see when we were out there at practice. That, yes, I believe a big part of Jaden's progress at LSU was the work that Joe Sloan did as his position coach. Now, Jaden is an outstanding athlete and a very special player, and his ability to improvise and, hit the B button on the remote control, go 85 against Florida. I mean, special athletes do that. But he also had good coaching. I think that's important to note. And then Sloan is the OC a year ago in 2024. The offense was good. The problem LSU had a year ago was the defense was very poor. I mean, the defense gave up the game-winning drive against Southern Cal in Las Vegas. The defense couldn't tackle Marcel Reed. The defense couldn't tackle Jalen Milroe. Those weren't problems with Nussmeier, Sloan, at the offense. But this year, it's undeniable, unavoidable, inexcusable. And I've levied my share of criticism. Not running the ball against Ole Miss is inexcusable in that game. To go only twice the entire game where you run the ball in consecutive plays, allow your defense to be out there for 84 plays. It's all things we've talked about. So I understand this. I understand moving on from Joe Sloan at the time they are. And I believe it's the right decision at this point. And I'm going to be really interested to see what happens now with Alex Atkins. So over the weekend, I'll tell you, there was a lot of conversation about who would call plays. And the two people that were considered, and I did put this in a tweet earlier, and I worded it poorly initially. But initially, the conversations were about Tim Rattay and Alex Atkins as the two guys. There were some that favored Tim Rattay taking over play calling duties. Ultimately, this was Frank Wilson's decision to make the determination of how he wanted to structure the staff. He chose Atkins. Atkins ran sidecar to Joe Sloan. If you looked up in the press box and during the games, you'd see Sloan sitting right next to him was Atkins. Atkins was the OC at Florida State when they had their brilliant season in 2023 that unfortunately, ended in disappointment after the injury to Jordan Travis. And he was scapegoated after their 2-10 year. Again, I'm not saying he didn't deserve any of the blame, but he was the one who took the fall. And he was also the OC at Charlotte before he went to Florida State. So Alex Atkins has play calling experience. And I'm also fascinated because Atkins is a guy who is an offensive lineman, has been an offensive line coach, has been a run game coordinator. And I will be fascinated to see if with Alex Atkins as the offensive coordinator, do we see LSU start to commit more to the run for the remainder of the season? And I think and you may think it's a lost season, and I don't totally disagree, but everything is building toward the future. And I do believe that, I know, that in the week leading up to in the week leading up to Texas A&M, they made a concerted effort during the week to focus more on the inside run game. Harlem Berry crushed it during the week, which is why Berry got the start. And in the first half, he averaged 7 yards a carry against Texas A&M. And then he carried the ball in the first offensive snap of the second half, never got another carry. So maybe we see more of a commitment to the running game with Alex Atkins, which I would love to see. And an opportunity for a guy like Harlem Berry maybe to continue his development. So Atkins will continue as the tight ends coach and also as the primary play caller. I'm told Tim Rattay will coach quarterbacks. Now, Sloan was the quarterbacks coach, and Rattay was an analyst working with the quarterbacks as well. Tim Rattay will take over as the quarterbacks coach, but also will have an increased role, as I was told today, with game planning and in the game day execution of the offense as well. So Rattay will take on more responsibility. Cortez Hankton, who's currently the co-offensive coordinator, will maintain his current role working with the receivers. And the other change is with Corday Hankton. A lot of people may not even know that Corday's been on staff the past 2 years. But so Corday Hankton is Cortez Hankton's younger brother. From New Orleans, coached high school in New Orleans, and has gone on to work a lot of different places. Colorado, Michigan State. He's been around, played collegiately at Jackson State. And he has been Frank Wilson's assistant working with the running backs. Corday Hankton has. So now, with Frank Wilson taking on the expanded role of the head coaching duties, needs somebody to work with the running backs primarily during the week and on game days. So that's going to be Corday Hankton. He'll move from his analyst role to take on an increased role with the running backs as Frank Wilson is managing his head coaching duties. So those are the notable changes on the staff. And again, to reiterate, for those asking about Brad Davis or others on staff, I have the same questions you do, but what was expressed to me was if you start, like hypothetically, if you did fire Brad Davis, then Alex Atkins then likely is probably working with the offensive line as well. So now Atkins is the OC, play caller, offensive line, and tight ends. Are you putting too much on one person? So I understand that, why they didn't want to have full wholesale turnover on the coaching staff. So for now, Joe Sloan was the one that was dismissed. They'll move forward with 4 games remaining, try to maintain as much continuity as possible, a new voice, a new vision calling plays. And the other thing that I will mention is something that a lot of people have called for, and that's the possibility of a quarterback change. Now, I don't know what that decision is going to be. Frank Wilson will meet with reporters on Tuesday after practice, and then he's on the SEC Coaches Teleconference on Wednesday. But one thing that I heard mentioned plenty on Sunday is that there are staff members who have wanted and lobbied for a quarterback change. Now, my opinion, I want to be very clear when I share with you opinion and when I'm giving you information that I have. There are people on staff, I have no problem telling you this, that have lobbied for a change at quarterback to let Michael Van Buren start. My opinion is Garrett Nussmeier is not your problem. I think there's a lot of blame to go around, But Nussmeier isn't your biggest problem. He has gotten the holy hell kicked out of him on every play. If you are watching, they need a spatula to peel him up off the ground every play because your offensive line is atrocious. Now, if you want to talk about Van Buren to add a mobile quarterback dynamic, sure. He was also sacked on the second play he was in this past weekend against Texas A&M. A&M sacked LSU 7 times and had 11 TFLs because your offensive line is very bad, which I believe is the core central issue of everything that's created the domino effect that's really caused this offense to falter. But that is at least something that I would keep an eye on throughout the bye and before they get ready for Bama. Now, do you really want to give Michael Van Buren his first start at LSU on the road at Alabama? I don't think that's ideal, but what is? Maybe at home against Arkansas? I don't know. But something to keep an eye on throughout the bye week is if the newly formed staff does make a change at quarterback. It'd be awful, man, for Nussmeier if it ended that way for him. A guy who spent his whole career here, came back for his 5th season, and then in November of his 5th year, ended up being benched. But life ain't fair. And you got a new staff, new vision, new direction, and we'll see what they choose to do. But that is at least something that I would keep an eye on throughout the bye and as they get ready for Alabama. All right, it's After Further Review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Always love telling you about South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. New certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge, online, southpointvw.com. Go out in the parking lot. You'll see my black Volkswagen Atlas Crossport. I drive Volkswagen. Go to the house. Erica's got a white Volkswagen Atlas. She likes the bigger vehicle. I had an Atlas. Said, I don't really need all the space. So the Crossport takes out the third row. Little sleeker. All the great luxury as well. Style, feel, performance of luxury without the cost. Telling you, if you've never driven a Volkswagen, get behind the wheel of one. Go test drive one today. And the best place to go is South Point Volkswagen because as Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, they give you a better deal than anyone. southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Let me knock out a break. Jimmy's here in about 12 minutes for Auto Locks. Find out what we're betting on tonight. See if he's got a bet on Major League Baseball, on the NFL, tonight on Monday Night Football. Auto Locks live over at louisianasports.net. If you want them, it's always there and always free. We'll knock out a break and continue on AFR.
AFR.
All right, y'all. Halloween is this Friday. You need pumpkins? Go to Clegg's, any of the 4 locations. Segan Air Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery. Also, this weekend, the Baton Rouge Green Tree Spree is this week. I know a lot of people love this event. It's annual at Clegg's, the Segan Lane store only. It's this Saturday, November the 1st. Open date for LSU, so a great opportunity to get by. This Saturday, November 1st, from 8 a.m. to noon at the Segan store only. It's the Baton Rouge Green Tree Spree. If you're looking for trees, this is the time. The best selection, and of course, all benefiting a great cause as well. They'll have arborists on hand to help you shop for what you're looking for. Every Baton Rouge Green Tree approved tree purchase, Clegg's is making a donation to the Baton Rouge Green Mission. It's Clegg's Nursery.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Children's School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
At Buyout Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Buyout Ford and Buyout Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Buyout Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
The firing of Brian Kelly comes at no surprise, especially when your past predecessors have won national championships in their first 4 years. Not only was this LSU team not going to win a championship, they weren't going to make the playoff. A playoff that's now a 12-team playoff. Make no mistake about it, LSU is a blue blood. They expect not only to compete for national championships, they expect to win national championships. And it became apparent that Brian Kelly and his coaching staff couldn't get it done. But the next LSU head coach better understand it's championship or bust. That's what they want in Baton Rouge.
Well, when you make that's Booker McFarland. When you make that type of investment, that's obviously going to be the expectation. The big questions now here, obviously, are who's next for LSU? Also, what does Brian Kelly do next? And there's been so much reaction. As a matter of fact, our buddy Brandon Marcello from CBS opined on what's next for Kelly, who you have two now veteran coaches with Brian Kelly and James Franklin on the open market.
Well, I think he'll probably take some time to rest and relax on this, but I would expect he's going to put his name in the hat for some of these jobs out there and some of the bigger ones. I could even hear him come up at Penn State potentially as they get their search going there. There's a lot of programs that you also have to look at that are kind of mid-tier in the power conferences that want to make a splash, right? They're going to be really kind of going after coaches that these other blue blood programs are going to probably take away from them. So you might try and get a retread coach at a place like a Virginia Tech or in Arkansas, guys that have won elsewhere, but maybe they were fired or let go, and you can bring them in and excite your fan base.
You know, I think there are certainly spots in college football where Brian Kelly would make sense. And from an LSU perspective, you're keeping an eye on this because of the mitigation in his contract. If Brian Kelly gets another job, his buyout is offset by his contract. Odds are out today. Brian Kelly's plus 300 to be the next Arkansas coach. Plus 400 at UCLA, plus 500 at Virginia Tech, plus 700 at Stanford. I mean, I have no doubt that there are athletic departments that would hire Brian Kelly. I have a really tough time, though, believing Brian Kelly is going to take a lesser job. It is my deeply held belief that Brian Kelly left Notre Dame for LSU for one reason: to win a national championship. He watched the 3 coaches before him all win championships. And he thought, well, if Les Miles and Ed Orgeron can do it, of course I can do it with all the resources they have. And it hasn't worked out, clearly. But at 64 years old, by the way, Brian Kelly's birthday was Saturday. Ooh. At 64 years old, I don't get the sense that Brian Kelly is aching to go start over somewhere else and just coach at a place to keep coaching. I think there is a more likely scenario that Brian Kelly ends up in the media next year, like Nick Saban. Keeps him close to the game, gets to travel, gets to be at stadiums, gets to be part of football Saturdays, gets to watch film and all that stuff, and doesn't have to worry about NIL and portal and building a roster and all the things that weren't the things he signed up for 35 years ago. Maybe I'll be wrong. Been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But my opinion is I think we might have seen Brian Kelly coach for the last time. Because I don't know that one of the marquee jobs, like would he take Penn State? Sure, I think he would take Penn State. Because I think he has feeling that he could win there. I don't know that Penn State is going to have Brian Kelly at the top of their list. The other side of it is for LSU, which is far more interesting, I think, for our audience here, is who is LSU targeting. For what it's worth, these are the odds out today. And the best odds at plus $1.50 is John Sumrall from Tulane, followed by Joe Brady, then Lane Kiffin, then James Franklin, Eli Drinkwitz, Jeff Brom, Brent Key, Jimbo Fisher, Clark Lee, Marcus Freeman, could you imagine? Urban Meyer, and then Nick Saban at plus 7,500. You know, I think the top 3 on that list are so interesting because of how different they are. Sumrall would be a more attractive price point. Brady would be affordable and would bring NFL experience, but no head coaching experience. And then Kiffin would be the home run hire, the grand slam coach that would get everybody really excited. But I'll continue to say it for as long as we talk about this, which will be until LSU hires a coach, which I can't imagine will be till after the regular season. So we've got another month of all this conversation. I got to know who's making the hire first. Because if it's Scott Woodward, then Lane Kiffin, Dan Lanning, like those guys are going to be at the top of the list because that's Scott's MO. And that's what I prefer. But if it's someone else who's thinking they're going to try to go bargain shopping and get the up-and-comer, then maybe a John Sumrall, a Joe Brady, a Jeff Brom from Louisville. Maybe those are the ones that, a Brent Key, maybe those are the ones that make more sense. Time will tell. We'll be here talking about it all the way throughout. All right, Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Windows, door siding, oh yeah, they do shutters as well. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Got to knock out our final break, y'all. Come back. Jimmy will be here for Auto Locks. Thanks for everybody for hanging out with us here on this Monday, this crazy Monday edition of AFR.
AFR.
Man, I am thrilled every day to have the opportunity here to tell you about Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. And I know a lot of people, when they hear me talk about Goodwood first, they look at the logo, they hear the name, they laugh, they think it's funny. Sure. And that's the point. It's good marketing, right? That's to get your attention. And yes, at Goodwood, they do ED treatments. But that's only a very small part of their business. Hormone replacement therapy is something that I would encourage everyone. Get your blood labs drawn. Get your blood labs drawn. When was the last time you had blood labs drawn anyway? Let them do a full blood panel on you, including testing out your hormones, your testosterone, all of your different hormone levels. Because you can safely, affordably supplement yourself to get to healthy levels. I'm telling you right now, I know this from experience. You don't know how bad you feel until you start feeling good again. And they can help. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. Need security services you can count on? With Veteran Security Services, you're always protected. Locally owned and proudly serving the Gulf Coast, they're not some big national firm chasing profits. They're neighbors protecting neighbors. From petrochemical plants and healthcare facilities to port and maritime operations, Veteran Security delivers reliable protection you can trust. Choose community. Choose confidence. Choose Veteran Security Services. Visit veteransecurityfirm.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here. We eat out here. We watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. And oh, we do shutters too.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR. We are brought to you by Parish Construction and Roofing. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Me, Terrio, Tilly, Joe Morales, our whole crew. Roof repairs, roof replacements, gutters, soft wash. We do it all. We'd love to help you out, commercial or residential. I always say I just appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. From claim to cleanup, we're there at Parish Construction and Roofing. We can give you that free, no obligation roofing inspection. Our crews are awesome. We have a catch-all system when we're doing your roof replacement. It catches all the debris to protect your plants, the front of your home, prevent nails and shingles from maybe getting in your garden, damaging your plants, your lawn. We take a lot of pride in what we do, and we're thrilled to help you out. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know, Parish Construction and Roofing. All right, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Auto Locks.
Auto Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
What an honor. What an honor. On his 27th birthday, Jimmy Ott carves out a few minutes for us here for Otter Locks. Otter, happy birthday. How are you?
Where's my bedroom? Where's my cocoa van? Where's my pelican?
How drunk is he right now? I have no idea.
I'm fine. Let me tell you, though, I do want to, in this time, good obvious story. Listen, when they tell you the odds and the Heisman Trophy winner, the week of, you know who's getting it.
Yes.
These, and Vegas doesn't put these out, but like Bovada and these other places.
Yeah.
The most wrong thing, the most inaccurate thing they're on is coaching searches.
Okay.
I'm just trust me. So they might hit one every now and then, but they are wrong more than any other thing they put eyes on.
Interesting.
The coaching searches. Yeah. So, happy birthday.
They've got John Summerall as the favorite to be the LSU coach. I don't think they're going to hit on that one.
Man, like you, I'm hearing a lot of conflicting things, and because they went this route, they're going to go to more of an up-and-comer. I don't know. You know how this goes. I mean, they're not totally sure who's making the decision on the hire to begin with, but I'll say this, Matt, I was surprised. I was surprised. And, I mean, even after Penn State kind of laid the groundwork, still surprised.
Yeah.
I was very, so, I mean, this is 29 days removed from being top 5 in the country. Now they, this is the most, last week rather, the most active winningest coach in college football.
Yeah.
With 6 years left on his contract. So,
stunning.
Listen, but keep in mind, the one constant, minus UAB, who has no fans, the embarrassing home losses prompted all of the other firings this year.
Yeah.
From UCLA getting housed by New Mexico by 4 touchdowns, to Penn State losing to Northwestern at home, to Virginia Tech losing to Old Dominion, all at home, which adds to the emotion. I've just never seen a fan base dictate a firing more than an administration. That's why I'm surprised. But we're still learning. It's a new climate, man.
Man, you should have done your show today.
What's that?
You should have done your show today.
I did the first
1 minute.
I mean, I tried to hold the boy by his hand. Can I take one day off?
Yeah. All right. We got to go quick. What you got?
Ladder. I mean, Dodgers to win the game money line. Dodgers to minus one, whether it's Bet Rivers or DraftKings. -1.5. Over 8. Dodgers. This Scherzer thing cannot sustain in the postseason. We're going to light him up tonight. And then I'm going to say, man, I hate taking a double-digit favorite, but the Chiefs are really trending the right way. Mariota, no, he's not Jaden Daniels. Chiefs minus the points, but Dodgers, every step of the way in the over tonight.
All right. Where are you tomorrow?
At Dozy Place on Government Street.
Very good, man.
Tiger Man. Go Tigers.
Happy birthday, Otter.
Thank you, brother.
That is Jimmy Ott. What a show. Muse, Paulie, thanks. Appreciate all the hard work. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
I really wish Supper Club was open right now. I've had maybe the longest 36 hours of my professional life. Well, maybe not ever, but in some time, I could really use a steak, a glass of wine, a cocktail over at Supper Club. But I'll have to wait another day. Supper Club's open Tuesday through Saturday. They're closed Sunday, Monday, so closed right now. But remember, you want the best dining experience you'll find anywhere, not only in Baton Rouge, in the state of Louisiana, or among the best in the country. You want Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com for your reservations. SupperClubBTR.com. Open date this weekend. No LSU game, so maybe Saturday night you want to get to Supper Club, experience it for the first time, or for the next time. Get your reservations right now at SupperClubBTR.com. That's SupperClubBTR.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family, propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
Tiger Country is 100.7 The Tiger. In the car on 100.7 FM or on the 100.7 The Tiger app. 90s country and beyond. 100.7 The Tiger.